This is Rick Forte, and welcome to this edition of Choosing to Thrive Facebook video chat of the day. And today I'm talking about the implications, the ripple effects, if you will, of stress out into the world. Stress is becoming a bigger and bigger issue for us as a society and as an individual. So recent studies are showing that up to 90% of medical visits are stress related, and the health implications are physical, mental, and emotional. That's quite staggering. However, when I put it in context and use an analogy like a car, so a car may be engineered to drive 150 kilometers an hour. But if we were to drive that car at that speed for a prolonged rate of time, it will break down sooner. So parts will wear out faster. And that's what happens to the human body. When we're under stress, our body floods us with cortisol and adrenaline, used traditionally for fight or flight. Short term. When we flood our systems consistently with adrenaline and cortisol, it wears us out. So that makes sense to me that over the long term, we wear ourselves out when we live in a stressed state. What happens when we're in that state? How does that impact not only ourselves, but other people? So I've had a couple of situations lately that have woken me up to the ripple effects of stress. So what's happened is I've experienced a couple of situations where other people, I'm going to assume, were under a lot of stress. So they were short with me, angry, frustrated. And I understand that it probably wasn't me, but they were lashing out because of the state they were in. And so that got me thinking, well, what's my behavior look like? What am I putting out into the world when I'm stressed? And as I watch myself, I realize I'm doing the same thing. I'm lashing out at people. I'm angry. I'm coming across as angry, as frustrated. My expectations of others are unrealistic. I might say things that are hurtful or damaging in that spur of the moment. And that's not the person that I want to be. That's not the behavior that I want to exhibit in this world on an ongoing basis. So I can't change someone else, but I can change myself. I can choose to behave differently. The first step is being aware of the behavior that I'm not comfortable or happy with. Now, what can I do differently? In that moment, when I notice that I'm stressed, before I act out or behave in a way that I don't want, what can I do differently? Well, I can take a step back. I can actually take a few breaths. Taking a breath, 6 breaths to the count of 6, slows down our, if you will, our reptilian brain, the one that wants to engage in fight or flight. It's as simple as that, counting to 6 and breathing. So there's a technique that I can use in any situation. If the situation continues, I can remove myself from the situation. I can go for a walk, I can exercise, I can listen to some music, I can go read a book. I can do something that will lower that level of intensity, if you will, into more of a neutral state. Then I can address whatever's really going on, what's causing me the stress. Do I need to change my priorities? Do I need to have a conversation with somebody about what's going on in my life? Sit down to figure out what's going on with me. So there's some things I can do immediately and then longer term to reduce my stressful behaviors outwardly into the world. So be the change I want to be in the world. But first, I need to recognize what it is that I don't like that I'm doing, projecting out into the world. And now, what are the behaviors I want to do more of? All right, so I'm going to leave that with you and ask the question, what kind of ripples are you putting out into the world most often? Are you happy with those ripples? Are there ripples that you'd like to change to be more positive? And think about the ripple effects of the way that we behave internally into our own bodies as well. What are those ripple effects in the long term? All right, with that, I'm going to ask you to keep choosing to thrive. Take care. Be well. I am Rick Fortier.